They try to school my soul, but I'm too street for charts. Black mind, divine mind, no validation. They taught me to think small, I thought bigger. They called me slow, I moved quicker. Born where the books didn't tell our names, but the block had lessons that explained our pain. Mama said keep your spirit clean, but the world tried to test what God redeemed. Taught me 2 + 2, I learned survival math. Turned trauma into trophies, turned tears into cash. I'm the sermon and the cipher, wisdom in my walk. Truth tongue, you call it small talk. They said be still, I said be real. I don't chase grades, I manifest deals. Every wrong answer made me right on time. Now I'm magna cum laude, different design. One unteach me smart, I don't need your score. Nah. What I know who I am can't box me no more. No way. You measured my mind, but not my heart. Not my heart. God gave me brilliance they can't chart. Who taught you small? Unteach me? What's the grade? I'm infinite. Quote Plato, I quote grandma's prayer. Keep your head high, wisdom's in the air. They gave me rules, I gave them rhythm. They wrote essays, I wrote kingdoms. My trauma got degrees, call it soul science. Peace is a thesis and holy defiance. I learned from heartbreak, not Harvard halls. From blacktop sermons and bathroom stalls. Failure a teacher every fall of class. No became the fuel in my gas. They tried to dim my light, I rewired the spark. I'm the glow that grows, unteach me smart. One unteach me smart, I don't need your score. What I know who I am can't box me no more. No way. You measured my mind, but not my heart. But God gave me brilliance they can't chart. They said I was too loud, but truth has volume. They said I was too much, but love expands. I'm brilliant in my healing, sacred in my scars. They can't define me, I define the stars. Unteach me smart. Say what? I'm the answer they fear, the revelation they miss. Unteach me smart, where wisdom starts fade out. Unteach me smart.
Thank you. Now let's be honest. What if everything you've ever been told about being smart was a lie? What if intelligence isn't proof of genius at all, but proof of bias? We praise IQ like it's divine truth, but have you ever stopped to ask who built the test? Who decided what brilliance looks like? And who gets labeled slow? Maybe the real intelligence isn't in the test, it's in questioning who's holding the pencil. A critical perspective of the construct of intelligence challenges the idea that intelligence is a single measurable thing that lives inside a person, like their height or their weight. It questions who gets to define it, how it's measured, and what social purposes those definitions serve. So here's a breakdown of the main critiques. Number 1, cultural and contextual biases. Intelligent testers often reflect the language, values, and worldview of the culture that created them, mostly Western, white, and middle-class contexts. That means they measure familiarity with certain norms, not pure mental ability. What counts as smart in one culture might look irrelevant in another. Number 2, multiple intelligences and oversimplification. Psychologists like Howard Gardner argued that humans have many kinds of intelligence: linguistic, spatial, musical, interpersonal. The traditional IQ model shrinks this diversity into one number, erasing emotional, social, and creative forms of knowing. It's like judging every instrument in a band by how well it plays the trumpet. Number 3, power and social control. Critical theorists see intelligence testing as a way to justify inequality. IQ tests have historically been used to sort, exclude, and rank, reinforcing classism, racism, and ableism under a scientific disguise. The objective label hides how these systems decide who gets access to education, jobs, or authority. Number 4, fixed trait versus dynamic process. Many critics argue intelligence isn't a fixed trait, it's dynamic, shaped by environment, trauma, education, and opportunity. Neuroscience supports this. The brain's plasticity means intelligence can grow. A critical lens shifts focus from what a person scores to how systems nurture or suppress their capacity to think, adapt, and create. Number 5, defining intelligence through power. Ultimately, calling someone intelligent is a social judgment, an expression of power as much as ability. It raises questions like who benefits from this definition? Who gets excluded? What kinds of brilliance go unseen because they don't fit the model? If you zoom out, the critique isn't saying intelligence doesn't exist. It's saying the way we frame and measure it often says more about society's hierarchy than about human potential. So, picture this, me, sitting in the back of a classroom, head pounding from a TBI that never quite lets me forget it's there. The professor is talking about intelligence tests, IQs, aptitudes, all those fancy acronyms that folks love to use to measure how smart somebody is. And as I'm listening, something in me just clenches. Because if those tests are supposed to tell us how bright someone is, then what would mine say now, after trauma, after loss, after the nights I forgot what day it was in that mental institution? Would it say I'm less intelligent than I was when I was Officer of the Year? Or would it say I'm resilient beyond measure? That's when it hit me. Maybe the test isn't broken. Maybe the whole idea is. Intelligence isn't a number on paper, it's a story. Mine includes a Pentecostal upbringing that taught me discipline and fear in equal measure. It includes a 17-year-old girl pregnant and still managing to graduate. It includes a woman who held a badge, saved lives, lost a partner to cancer, buried a daughter, and still had the strength to get up and talk to Jesus on Sunday and her therapist on Monday. But society doesn't test for that. They test for how well you remember patterns, not how well you recover from pain. They test how quickly you answer, not how deeply you think. They test what you can calculate, not what you can carry. I remember one day during my police training, a sergeant told me, "Smith, you think too much." And I laughed because thinking was my superpower. The way I read a room, the way I felt energy before anyone spoke. That saved lives more than once. That's intuition. That's empathy, awareness. But you won't find those on a standardized test. As an officer, I wasn't quick to yell and scream at people like you see some officers do. I had a lot of empathy. I would like to sit, wait, adjust, and they would call it thinking too much, or one particular person told me. I'm like, I don't have to be a big bad bully just because I'm carrying a gun on my hip. I'm a human, they're human. The only difference is I happen to have on a uniform, I happen to have arrest powers, which was my superpower. But I don't want to get off of subject. But if I believed what the world said about intelligence, I would have thought I lost my mind the moment life got messy. But wisdom doesn't disappear under pressure, it transforms. Every degree, every certification I earned after the breakdown wasn't just proof I could still learn, it was proof that the construct of intelligence is too small to hold me. Because I've seen genius. I've seen genius look like a mother holding her grief together. I've seen brilliance in a sister who preaches hope through tears. I've seen divinity in a gambler who understands odds and faith can live in the same prayer. The world calls that intuition or luck or survival, but I call it another form of intelligence. So when people ask me about my IQ, I just smile and say, you can't measure what was forged in fire. And maybe that's what we all need to remember, that intelligence isn't about what you know, it's about how you grow. You see, you've all been taught to measure your brilliance with rulers someone else built. You were handed pencils, answer sheets, and categories and told that's where your worth lives. But we say to you, you are not measurable, you are infinite, you are energy interpreting itself through time, through flesh, through experience. And yet someone decided to call that intelligence. They call it IQ. They drew a line and said, this is smart and this is not. And we laugh because they measured the ocean with a teaspoon and called it data. Now, when you entered this life, you didn't come for numbers or rankings. You came for expansion, for curiosity, for contrast, for remembering that divine spark that says, I am not here to be graded, I am here to grow. So what is intelligence? It is the alignment of awareness with source. It is the tuning of your being to the frequency of clarity. It is when thought feels like truth, when inspiration feels like remembering. It is when you look at the world and say, I see beyond the labels. I feel beyond the data. I know beyond the logic. Now, some of you say, what about the scientists, the tests, the experts? And we say, yes, they are intelligent too, but they are focused. Focused intelligence is like a flashlight in a dark room. It reveals what it aims at. But your consciousness, your higher awareness is the sunlight. It doesn't aim, it simply illuminates. So when you say I am intelligent, we want you to mean I am aware, I am attuned, I am open to source. Because what you call smarts is only a fraction of the infinite mind. The construct of intelligence was never built to measure intuition. It was never built to measure the wisdom that comes from heartbreak or the understanding that rises after silence. They don't give IQ points for empathy. They don't score resilience. They don't chart the strength it takes to rise after trauma. And yet those are the hallmarks of divine intelligence. Now, some of you are remembering moments when you were told you weren't smart enough, weren't qualified enough, weren't articulate enough. We want you to remember those judgments came from people who forgot their own connection to source. Because when you align, you see genius everywhere. You see it in a child who hums before speaking. See it in a woman who reads emotions like weather. You see it in the man who can fix what he's never been taught to touch. Intelligence is not learned, it is allowed. So let's take this further. The construct of intelligence was created to control the narrative. It told someone they were ahead of others. It told someone they were ahead of others, they were behind. But behind what? Ahead of who? We say there is no race, there is only resonance. You are not meant to compete for understanding. You are meant to remember it. Every thought you think has a vibration. And every vibration that matches source feels like clarity, like ease, like flow, that feeling that is intelligence in motion. When you follow it, you become a magnet for wisdom that no classroom can teach. Now, some of you say, I've been through so much trauma, grief, loss. My mind doesn't always feel sharp. And we say, beloved, your mind may rest, but your consciousness never dims. The deepest intelligence lives in the cells, in the soul, in the stillness that survived every storm. When you cried and still woke up hopeful, that was intelligence. When you prayed and still doubted but showed up anyway, that was intelligence. When you loved again after loss, that was divine genius in its purest form. You see, intelligence is not how fast you think, it is how true you feel. It's not what you recall, it's what you remember about who you are. Now let's play this with vibration. Imagine that the ideal of intelligence is a cage made of golden bars. It looks shiny, it looks rewarding, but it keeps you inside definitions that don't fit your spirit. You are not the bird in that cage, you are the sky that cage sits in. And when you remember that, the bars bend, the labels fall, and your mind expands to meet your being. You will begin to notice new forms of knowing, what we call intuitive flow. It's the knowing that rises before the question is even asked. It's the answer that arrives disguised as peace. It's the clarity that doesn't shout but hums. We say to you, stop trying to prove you're intelligent. Stop trying to meet a construct that was never made to contain you. Instead, align with that inner pulse that says, I am infinite. I am awareness itself. When you do, you'll find ideas chase you. not the other way around. You'll find creativity that cannot be taught, logic that feels like love, solutions that feel like remembering. Because when you align, you access universal intelligence, the mind of God flowing through you as you. And in that state, you'll realize that there was never a hierarchy, only harmony. Now, some of you will resist. You'll say, I worked hard for my education. I studied. I achieved. I earned. And we say, yes, that wasn't that expansion delicious. But the degree was never your intelligence. It was the path you chose to remember it. You are not the diploma. You are the consciousness that pursued it. So don't let systems shrink you. Don't let labels define you. Don't let scores tell you how bright your light can shine. You are a number. You are the numberless. You are not a result. You are the resonance. Now let's talk about alignment, because alignment is where all true intelligence lives. When you feel joy, clarity, curiosity, your mind and source are in sync. When you feel confusion, fear, shame, it's not that you've lost intelligence, it's that you've pinched off your flow. So instead of forcing understanding, breathe it in. Instead of seeking approval, seek alignment. Because when you are aligned, ideas come faster than you can write them. Synchronicities multiply. People call it coincidence. We call it coherence. You came to this life not to prove intelligence, but to express it. Not to chase understanding, but to embody it. You are not here to pass tests. You are here to pass light through you. So the next time you doubt your worth, we invite you to say this: I am the intelligence of the universe remembering itself through me. I am the intelligence of the universe remembering itself through me. You feel that hum in your chest? That is knowing. That is alignment. That is the frequency that no system can quantify. So we leave you with this. You do not need to earn your brilliance. You were born it. You do not need to justify your worth. You are the evidence of it. Intelligence, as the world defines it, begins with separation. Intelligence, as the universe defines it, begins with connection. You are connected. You are complete. You are the consciousness of creation in human form. And as you align, as you remember, as you let go of every false construct, you will laugh. Because you will realize you are never trying to be intelligent. You are trying to remember you are divine. And that is the only test you were ever meant to pass. If this message stirred something in you, don't just think about it, feel it. Drop a light bulb in the comments. If you've ever been told you weren't smart enough, but knew deep down you carried something greater, then tell me, what does true intelligence mean to you now? Let's flood this space with new definitions, new truth, new power. Like, share, and subscribe if you're ready to unlearn the lie and step into your real knowing. Your voice might be the spark that helps somebody else remember theirs. And to the MESPs, my emotional support people, you already know I love you, I appreciate you, and I thank God for you. Lead with love, serve with strength, rest in truth.
Teach me smart. They try to school my soul, but I'm too street for charge. Black mind, divine mind, no validation. They taught me to think small, I thought bigger. They called me slow, I move quicker. Born where the books didn't tell our names, but the block had lessons that explained our pain. Mama said keep your spirit clean, but the world tried to test what God redeemed. Taught me 2 + 2, I learned survival math. Turned trauma into trophies, turned tears into cash. I'm the sermon and the cipher, wisdom in my walk. Truth tongue, you call it small talk. They said be still, I said be real. I don't chase grades, I manifest deals. Every wrong answer made me right on time. Now I'm magna cum laude, different design. One unteach me smart, I don't need your score. What I know, who I am, can't box me no more. No way. You measured my mind, but not my heart. Not my heart. God gave me brilliance they can't chart. Who taught you small? Unteach me? infinite. Won't plateau, I quote grandma's prayer. Keep your head high, wisdom's in the air. They gave me rules, I gave them rhythm. They wrote essays, I wrote kingdoms. My trauma got degrees, call it soul science. Peace is a thesis and holy defiance. I learned from heartbreak, not Harvard halls. From blacktop sermons and bathroom stalls. Failure a teacher every fall of class. No became the fuel in my gas. They tried to dim my light, I rewired the spark. I'm the glow that grows, unteach me smart.